my geologist friends. In the last lesson, you all learned about the 3 different types of rocks. And our friend Gary, who is a geologist, taught us all about types of things that we find on Earth to study that tells us about its history. And we know that there are rocks, layers of the Earth. We've learned about heat, pressure, and time changes things. And we've learned so much from him. But did you notice that we learned about things that weren't plant and animals? These rocks aren't plant and animals. But today, we're going to learn something else. We're going to learn about another type of scientist called a paleontologist. Okay? These scientists actually study living things on Earth, such as plant and animals. But they don't study the things that are on the Earth now. They study the plants and animals that lived on the Earth long time ago. Okay? So I want you to say that word with me. Paleontologist. Let's say it one more time. Paleontologist. Good. Okay. So we're going to talk about a friend of Mr. Gary, the geologist, and she's going to tell us about plants and animals that lived many years ago, okay? So I want you to listen very carefully to find out how paleontologists learn about plants and animals that lived many years ago. So let's learn vocabulary words, and then we'll talk about paleontologist. Oops, too far. All right, our first is fossil. Print or remains preserved in rock of plant or animal that died many years ago. The scientists found a large fish fossil. Here's a fish fossil. Impression, a mark or shape left on a surface formed by pressure. Their mother always knew when they jumped on the bed because of the impression of their feet left on the mattress. Here's an impression of somebody's feet in sand. Paleontologist, someone who studies living things from long ago by looking at fossils. As a paleontologist, she was able to travel to many different places to study fossils. And this paleontologist is looking at, it looks like a skeleton of something. Preserved, kept in excellent condition, unchanged over time. The cold temperature of the refrigerator preserved the fruits and vegetables. All right, here we go, friends. Hi, everyone. My name is Pam, and I'm a paleontologist. We're going to call her Pam the paleontologist. Gary, the geologist, is a friend of mine. He called me this morning and asked me to come in and finish teaching you about the history of the Earth. He is sorry he can't be here, but all his rock talk has him itching to see some neat rocks himself, so he's off hiking in the mountains. A paleontologist is a scientist who studies paleontology, which is the study of life that existed on Earth in the distant past. Can you say paleontologist? Paleontologists study bones to learn about life on Earth long ago. This isn't just any bone, it's a dinosaur bone. I'll be teaching you about dinosaurs in the near future. What type of rock do you think that is, guys? It's a sedimentary rock. Gary told me you already know basic geology factors, heat, pressure, and time. You also know that sedimentary rocks such as sandstone and limestone are formed from layers of sediments that have been pressed together over time. Remember, sediments are tiny pieces of dirt and rock and decayed plants and animals. These layers of sediment These layers of sediment offer many clues about the history of life on the Earth. The history of life on Earth is my specialty as a paleontologist. Paleontologists need to know a lot about rocks and geology in order to study living things because of something called a fossil. A fossil is the preserved body or imprint of an animal or plant that lived thousands, millions, or even billions of years ago. Remember, if something is preserved, it's kept in good condition over a long period of time. Most fossils, like this fossil of a seashell, show you where the body of an animal or plant died and was buried under layer after layer of sediment. Over many, many years, with more and more sediment pressing down on it, this shell became part of the stone that formed as a result of geologic pressure. You are only seeing the impression or shape of it, not the actual shell. So let's think about it. If you had sand or Play-Doh or something and you took a seashell and you pushed down on it, you would form an impression of the shell. Whoops. As you dig down into the earth, oh, I forgot a part. Sorry, guys. I forgot a part. The creature itself and the shell decayed and rotted away, but its shape stayed imprinted in the rock. Sorry. As you dig down into the earth, the soil and rocks are divided into layers. These layers represent different geologic periods or times during which the crust and surface of the earth changed. For instance, if you find a layer of sandstone on dry land, then you know that there may have been an ocean or river over land at some point in the distant past. That means by examining rocks in our area, scientists can tell if there used to be an ocean where our city is now and how long ago that was. That's pretty cool. We can estimate how old certain fossils may be thanks to our understanding of geology and rock layers. Fossils are usually found in layers of sedimentary rocks, though they can be found in other rock formations as well. It looks like the paleontologist in this picture has found a good place for fossil hunting. He has to dig very carefully to make sure he keeps the fossils in good condition. Every fossil is part of the Earth's fossil record. The fossil record includes everything we have learned about the history of life from studying fossils. The fossil record is what paleontologists study in order to figure out what life on Earth was like many years ago. Paleontologists can determine when the animal and plants imprinted in the fossils lived based on the rock layers in which they were found. They use information from all fossils to create a timeline of life on Earth. Timeline shows the order in which plants and animals existed from a long time ago. Today, I would like to show you several different fossils from different time periods during the history of the Earth. That's cool looking. This is a fossil of a trilobite, an animal that some scientists believe lived about 550 million years ago. Trilobites may look like insects, but they are more closely related to lobsters and crabs. Trilobites came in many varieties from a ½ inch up to 28 inches in length. Woo! That's like 2 of these. That's a big. Woo, okay. They had antennae, lots of legs, and a hard outer shell called an exoskeleton. That exoskeleton is important because it means the dead trilobite were easily fossilized when they became buried in the sand. Oops, I lost my book again, guys. At about the same time, the fossil record estimates that the first plants appeared on land. Back then, there was no soil on the land because soil contains dead, decayed plants. Since these were the first plants on land, no plants had died yet in order to create soil. The first plants did not have the same characteristics as plants today. These plants were less than ½ inch tall and they had no roots, no leaves, flowers, or seeds, but they were plants nevertheless. That's pretty cool, huh, friends? Soon came the age of fish. Many different types of fish ruled the waters. Also during this time, plant and animal life on land began to spread rapidly. The first soils developed on land, allowing new types of plants with leaves, stems, and roots to grow. With new plants came new land creatures ready to eat those plants. Tetrapods and the first amphibians made their way onto the beaches. An amphibian is an animal that lives part of its life in water and part on land, like a frog. Paleontologists have found many tetrapod fossils. An artist drew this picture using a tetrapod fossil, which shows what a real tetrapod might have looked like. Do you think any of this tetrapod's body parts look like they belong to a fish? Kind of That looks like a frog to me. Then lush forests full of trees and plants, such as ferns, began to grow. There's a fern fossil. Ooh, that's scary looking. As forests increased, so too did the variety and sizes of animals. The first giant reptiles appeared. Of course, the one in this picture, called a Dimetrodon, is just a model that someone made, but they based this model on fossilized can't say this word, guys, Dimetrodon bones found in the earth. Paleontologists call the body part sticking up on its back a sail because it looked like the sail on a boat. Dimetrodon was not a dinosaur, but it certainly looked like one, and dinosaurs will soon to follow. We will learn more about dinosaurs next time. That is as far as the fossil record will take us today. All right, friends, so let's talk about what we've talked about today. So, what do paleontologists like Pam study? The history of life on the earth. What's a fossil? A fossil is the preserved body or imprint of a plant or animal that lived long ago. Are fossils formed over a short period of time or a very long period of time? A very long period of time. What is this? Oh, sorry, wrong thing. I think that's all we have, friends. Let me double check. Yep, that's all we have. Okay, so now it's your turn. Your turn is to go look in your Google Classroom, find the information you need to answer your questions. If you don't remember, come back and watch the video again or find the part you need to find it. You can email me with any questions. Don't forget to turn it in to me, and I'll see you guys for our last lesson on the history of the earth. We're going to talk about dinosaurs.